I'm about to show you something I once thought impossible. You ready for it? Crazy, right? Games that are unfortunate enough to have the furry game label tacked onto them have always been sort of mediocre. This is because the majority of furry-oriented games people know don't have that much to them. They have furries in it, it's a game, it's pretty stock standard game for its genre, and horniness is almost always on the forefront. Pretty simple stuff, really. Or perhaps said game is so good and becomes so mainstream that people don't consider it a furry game, per se. Or they get labeled as furry games for having a single furry character, but we're not getting into those. The thing I'm trying to get at here is that the label of furry game obviously has pretty bad connotation to it. That label has sometimes kept people away from what could possibly be a pretty interesting experience once given the chance. And the reason I'm saying all this is because that's kind of the way I first felt towards the game I'll be covering for this and possibly the next few videos.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and well...
On the surface, and through most of the game, changed is, in a word, weird. As most furry games go, you'd be pretty quick to notice that its premise revolves around a furry kink, transformation. Or in the context of this game, forced transformation. You know how most games usually force you to have a game over without your consent? Yeah, it's the exact same thing here, but somehow ickier. I could get into why, but first, it would probably be best to get a quick idea as to what's up with this game. So, Changed was released by indie dev Dragon Snow on April 4th, 2018. It's described to be a difficult action puzzle game with a lot of chase. The synopsis tells the game's opening moments, but I'd rather go through that as we begin playing. The game itself has definitely made waves in the furry fandom, most members recognizing it from a glance, as well as the spread of him, but we haven't gotten to him just yet, so let's talk about what's inside the game itself. The game starts up as you would expect from earlier RPG Maker titles, one of the weaknesses of yours truly. And even though the game came out in 2018, it definitely looks like something that would come out during the time of games like Mad Father or Aoni. And rather than being titled New Game, we have New Life, selecting the option having the expected effect of starting the game. Immediately, we're met with a disclaimer saying that this game isn't based on anything in reality, along with the game telling you directly that it won't hold your hand for shit. The player will have to find out what's supposed to be done in this game on their own. A tad bit fitting given the plot, and after begrudgingly selecting normal mode and creating your first save, the game begins. Meet the main character, a 23-year-old human. I only say the age because at first I thought they were a kid, which would have made things much weirder moving forward. Anyways, this human wakes up in a room he's in no way familiar with. Weak, head spinning, alone, and essentially in the nude. He comes to the obvious conclusion that he's been kidnapped, and from this point forward, he has to find a way to escape any way he can. This is where the gameplay begins. Being left to a singular room with a locked exit, naturally I'd look around for clues as the game previously instructed. Upon checking the vent here, we're met with the sound of dragging and slipping. Now, the human in the game believes it would be a good idea to move away from it as far as possible. Unfortunately, he didn't take note of the player's lack of comprehension. So instead, I went to check on this clipboard here. All was fine until... Oh, would you look at that? I'm screwed. Not even a minute into the game, and the only thing keeping me alive is this blob's courtesy. Say what you will about the sentient semen in this game, but at least they let you finish reading before rendering your brain completely useless. But as soon as you're finished... Welcome to the furry fandom. Glad to have you. But yeah, what you're supposed to do was lure the blob into the drain so it would fall through. Then you could reach into the vent, find a button to open the door, and leave the room. Leaving the room leads you to a deserted hallway in terrible shape. There are multiple doors to choose from, however, none of them exactly lead to anything other than the tutorial on the movement you already knew. and a useless piece of plastic you can't even pick up because you don't have pockets. In the hallway, there's a paper in the hall telling you how to get out. The tiles on the floor have been manipulated to give the code needed to leave the room. Now at first you'd probably think you had to count how many large tiles there are on the ground, or you might be one of those super geniuses who saw the large tiles literally give you the code. But not me. You see, I'm what the youth of today would call a dumbass. A dumbass who spent nearly half an hour trying to figure out what the door tiles were even for. Wait a I assumed the game meant I had to go in each room and count how many large tiles there were. But with the door locked, I couldn't exactly do that. I mean, hell, even trying to do that, I ended up getting stuck in a room and had to read through an uncomfortable, seemingly painless demise. But after running around for so long, I finally figured it out. Okay, take two. After getting past the first of many puzzles, we're greeted to a room with a cat. What could this cat be doing in this laboratory? Maybe they're an NPC who you can interact with? Well, I'm technically right. So after what felt like ages trying to get past RNG Cat, we end up in a hallway where, beneath the gamer rage, we are a hungry, afraid, and lonely being. Ain't that the damn truth? You don't know what you can trust anymore, but one thing's for certain. There's a furry in the vents. And after mashing to get free, we recollect ourselves and walk down a dimly lit hallway. Here we can find a few pictures up on the wall. I greatly dislike one of them, as well as a view of the outside world and a hint as to what could have happened to it. They speak of an unnamed contagious virus that spreads so silently that it's difficult to detect before it's too late. Even as it was found out, the virus was so strong that it was unable to be cured. However, the world could be saved if the presumed scientists' plan managed to work. I mean, given this game came out in 2018, it could be a warning sign to real-world events that happened a year later. But as the game said in the beginning, surely this isn't based on any real-life events. The dev behind this game isn't omnipotent, unless that's what he wants us to believe. Next thing you know, the vaccine's gonna turn us all into a bunch of furry cumwads. So with that snippet of information, we can continue on our way. After the quick dev credit, the character finds himself a room from the next puzzle, the first noticeable thing being the flickering lights. Before entering, there's a note on the wall telling you not to run in the offices, but that won't stop my pinky finger from getting a little trigger happy. So here we have another struggle of mine, as well as the perfect encapsulation of the difficulty this game provides. Most sections feel entirely RNG based, while others come down to straight trial and error. Like, I get what I'm supposed to do here is move slowly and stop when the lights are off, but you have to learn which places are the best to stop in so you know how to do it correctly in one go. It's almost as if the game is intentionally hard so you can see what the game has been advertising at least once. Almost as if. But yeah, I did eventually beat this area and save my progress before being met with a flying gremlin. Okay, moving on. After struggling for dear life, we stumble upon what seems to be the nest for these black latex furry beings. The movement here is limited, however, and these gremlin fuckers only move when you do. So you're stuck moving in this necrodancer-like fashion, which is somewhat easy to maneuver once you understand how everything works. But regardless, you'll still find a way to turn yourself into a furry. It's only a matter of time, really. So, after slip-sliding through what's supposedly crystal latex, we meet a dragon latex giant god thing. The Elder Scroll, and his annoying crystal summoning garbage that nearly made me crush my controller in rage. But out of pure spite, I managed to march my way up to him and ask him a simple question. Why do people simp for Poro, but not him? He didn't give me a response. So after seeing how badly you want to escape from the laboratory, the Elder Scroll decides to let you go, instructing all black latex creatures to leave you be. And things seem to be looking up. For all of a couple of seconds. The human passes out. Being turned into a furry time after time is sure to do that to a person. And it would be a shame if this is where we ended this episode, but frankly, I couldn't have asked for a better spot. So surely it's too early for me to draw conclusions on the game, given it took me 2 hours to play through what was probably 30 minutes. However, I thought it would be good to start off with a short episode, just to test the waters of this new gameplay-oriented video style. I wouldn't want to pump hours into this if you guys weren't all too interested, so I wanted to make a first episode to get a few viewpoints and critiques. Would gaming series like this be something that a lot of you would enjoy? What would you like to be changed up about it? Get it? It's yeah, you get it. Comment down below what you think, along with your thoughts on the tragic gameplay I've shown you so far. Like, subscribe, all that usual YouTube crap, and I will see you in the next video.